Hello, and welcome back to Potluck Prime Picks, which is the show where I get the intro right on the first try every time. We had our monthly-ish Customs Potluck event in the Breakfast Club server, where everyone chooses a custom, brings it to fight everyone else, trades customs between games, and at the end, everyone votes on a character they want to hear more about or one they thought was really cool. So this month I'm here to look at Tetris, with its designer Bluellama1,
What's up, gamers?
and the person who brought them, Sompursone.
Yo, yo.
Yeah. So we've had Blue here once before to talk about Trinosuke, who at first glance at least wasn't really a character who fights either. There was another story to that, but somehow we have a character who's even less related to fighting games this time. So, Blue, can you tell me why you personally decided to design Tetris and Exceed?
I'll get to that, but I want to say I'm disappointed in you all. I could have talked about Hibiki Kuze, who's fucking based, and instead we're here talking about freaking Tetris.
So you're very
Anyways,
proud.
Tetris is so good. Tetris is so good.
the reason why Tetris exists is because some asshole named Avusonian and some other asshole named Moriarty kept fucking bugging me, asking me when I was gonna make freaking Tetris or Exceed.
I'm glad it paid
Uh,
off.
I I would respond with, "Give me a pitch. Tell me how I'm gonna make that freaking character, and I'll make it, I guess." And Moriarty eventually actually gave me a pitch which makes sense, which is literally this.
So we have a not only a face-up attacker, but a character whose hand is always public information. So no mix-ups, no trying to act like you have something you don't really have yet. Very honest design, so to speak. How do you think this reflects Tetris in your own words? I guess.
Well, this ability is simulating basically the idea of the opponent playing Tetris. So Tetris's hand is the oncoming, the blocks that are coming in, and you have to position yourself, the block, like with inputs, to successfully navigate building out the tower is the general idea. To that end, Tetris is a character who cares a lot about positioning.
Hmm. Makes sense. So both your both Tetris themselves care about positioning, and you're kind of forcing the opponent to care about theirs, so they're not like exploding. I suppose.
Yeah, because you have ludicrously high card quality, which means you basically by default have dominant threats, assuming they're actually represented within your hands.
Yeah. You obviously have a bit of a downside ability, so what's making up for that is meant to be the strength of these shapes. So did you approach, in terms of designing these shapes, did you approach it more from how do I want to adapt this Tetris piece, or did you just want to say what's the strongest version of this tool I can have?
Um, it was more conceptual.
Makes
I wanted
sense.
the character. I knew I wanted the character to care about positioning, and I wanted counterpart pieces J, L, Z, S to form internal mix-ups because they're counterparts.
Makes sense.
So that was basically where I started, and it's like, well, we know what like a mix-up looks like an Exceed at a given range, so yeah, then I just gave the character strong iterations of tools that form mix-ups with each other. So you have Inferno Divider,
Classic 3P.
and then a kick that's based off of a sketch for a card that's like for a character that I haven't made yet, which is for Akira from Virtua Fighter. Um, I think that one of his most iconic moves should be like literally this.
Would also have
And
costs.
then we'll figure that one out later.
That's fair. Yeah, you have something
And
that's
then I also wanted the character to have some incentive to actually initiate strikes. So the fast options both give you a reward for initiating.
makes sense.
Because like I don't know, at least then you'll initiate with a thing that is probably going to hit the opponent.
Yeah, the opponent knows it's coming, but if you have like something that's probably going to hit them based on like their speed, and then 4 or 5 damage isn't bad at all, an advantage even. So
Yep.
makes sense. And then if they do have slows, you can throw out the mid speeds. Or that's probably more of a defensive tool. But ironically, because like the opponent can
Though
see.
notably,
Yeah,
you can hard drop.
that is true. Let's look at these boosts. Oh yeah, yeah. So if you're confident that T-Bone doesn't have an answer to something, it's still value.
Yep.
Yeah.
The utility boosts are on the ones that are more locked to defensive utility. Although, like, I don't know, sometimes the opponent just doesn't have dive, and you're at range 4.
This is a familiar shape as a user player.
Yeah, it's like that card, but juiced, and that card is already very juiced.
Yeah. Yep. You got your. It's funny because like you're defending with mid speeds because the opponent has to respect the fast options more, but you definitely got stuff to cover multiple options.
Yep.
And then O is just your solid sweep, like more or less.
Yep, because theoretically, if you got an O flood and you had no board, uh, O would be like by almost the best piece you could get. So just here's literally a block. It is very stable. It is very solid. Which is what a 2x2 block would be in terms of building things.
Very reliable, stable. Anything else you want to point out with the special boosts? I know you said you're valuing positioning, so these two make sense. This kind of like gives alternates utility to mid speeds that you may not want to initiate with. Then you have yeah,
Because this is like just a very stable shape, it also has the one that lets you bring back other cards. So like if you run out of any of these, you just don't.
makes sense.
It is on probably in terms of just raw stats the strongest of them. So like it is still like a commitment, which was like the reasoning for it being placed there.
Mm.
I didn't want you to have a 5 power eye, so reach, aka Pentamino's got put on Inferno Divider, but with no cost, and
Bit of
then
malicious boosted placement.
yeah. This is a really funny boost within the context of Tetris because it's not actually that helpful, but it is super custom combo, which is very funny.
That is true. On the topic of like having draw in like these two specific places, one of the inevitable weaknesses of having an open hand is being vulnerable to reading. Is there any like specific counter play you had in mind for that, or just like force your way through with good shapes otherwise?
Your shapes are strong.
Yeah.
Unless you're fighting like a broken character, the fact that they can reading you is only going to do so much.
Makes sense. And if they're using all their focuses on reading, then they're more vulnerable to your fast shapes that you can initiate with.
Yep.
Makes sense. Not much else to talk about that other than the ultras.
Yep.
I see you chose T and I.
Yeah, these are probably like pound for pound the pieces that let you do the most from a like scoring perspective because a T triple is worth more than a Tetris and a T double is worth the same as a Tetris scoring wise. And then obviously everyone knows Tetris, it's the name of the game. You got to get a score 4 lines. So these seemed like the very obvious picks. This also meant that I could like give them ridiculous shapes. So like the thesis of Tetris cares about positioning here is a card that actually cares about positioning that otherwise the character is not very good at setting up.
Yeah.
And then if you actually set it up, you get the 4 stack, and then bam, you hit him with the Tetris.
Let's go then.
And then with T, it was important that you felt like you were able to do a T spin with it, which is why I chose the Tatsu shape. It is a hilariously flexible Tatsu. It is a 1 to 5 Tatsu with 6 guard and 6 power. That is very close to guaranteed to gain advantage, unless you like just deliberately play it badly.
Makes sense. Only really ever loses to dive sometimes.
Yep.
And they do have very good boosts to go along with them.
Yep, and I'll talk about like theme, but these are pretty obvious. This is the Tetris theme, Korobeniki.
Yeah, the song.
Da, 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 da.
Bang.
And then Tetris Effect is the name of an actual like psychological phenomenon, which is basically when you play games like Tetris, you start like dreaming like of like stacking up blocks.
Kind of appears in your subconscious.
Yeah, because there's some kind of like just primal satisfaction to stacking things. So interacting with it for a little bit makes you think about it more.
The
So
organization.
I chose 2 fairly iconic and fairly straightforward boosts to fit for those because I didn't really want the character to do anything weird. The weird thing is that you are navigating around a character with ludicrously high card quality.
And
So those play into that.
most of the other boost names are just like Tetris techniques, more or less.
Yep, this is a strategy for guideline Tetris games. You if you're familiar with Puyo Puyo Tetris, you may be familiar with it from there. It's the
Yeah,
setup that allows you to spam out combos, which is why it's custom combo.
makes sense.
This is a reference to a technique from NES Tetris, which is basically the modern way that people play. Or no, not modern. The modern way actually is rolling. The before the current way that people play, they would hyper tap, which is basically like, um, instead of relying on DAS, which is delayed auto shift, to move
Mm.
pieces over, which is like how really old school players would do it. They would like tap the button, let go, tap the button, tap, let go, tap the button. And if you did
Okay.
that, if you did that fast enough, it would be faster than relying on DAS. So it allowed you to, at the cost of execution, move pieces faster over, which is why it's a big movement boost.
Makes sense.
Pentominoes, pretty straightforward. Tetris is a game in which you stack tetrominoes. Pentominoes are pieces that are composed of 5 blocks,
I guess Tetris 4.
which is why it's reach. It's a joke.
Yeah.
And then hard drop and hold are staple like Tetris mechanics. If you've played like a Tetris game in the past like 25 years, you probably have played a Tetris game that has a hard drop in it and also the hold mechanic in it. Which hard drop is you press up, makes the block immediately drop.
Yeah.
Hold is when a piece is in your oncoming, you can store it for later. Which obviously this hold actually does literally the opposite. You are taking the piece out of the hold to have access to it immediately. But I figured that
It's like part of the
break
mechanic, yeah.
from break from what it actually is doing is fine.
Don't have to do any weird sealed area shenanigans.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. It's funny you mentioned hard drop is like usually when you press up because I played Tetris Online recently. It was like shift by default or something weird.
Damn, that's epic.
Yeah. Yeah. Only thing we haven't talked about is the Exceed side, but that kind of seems to tie into your positioning focus
Yep. It should probably cost 2.
to flip.
That's
Or
actually yeah. It should probably
okay.
cost 2 to flip so that it's slightly more accessible. This actually, I did start seeing people use it, which is good because there was a real theory to why this character would actually value this, which is related to this character by default has a reading weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this allows you to get specific cards out of your
Yeah.
hands for card velocity and positioning. You care about positioning, so it gives you a lot of things that theoretically you care about all at once.
Yeah. And you can get rid of things that don't work at whatever new range you're trying to set up.
Yeah.
Pretty efficient that way. So, I guess, do you have any thoughts on the current state of this design? You mentioned seeing people were kind of starting to interact with the kit in new ways. Did it feel like what you expected it to play like?
Yeah, more or less. People really do get the like puzzle game feeling from the character, which is good because um, I think that the most important part of Tetris within the context of a fighting game engine like Exceed would be making it so that the opponent feels like they are playing a puzzle game.
Hmm.
And the character succeeds at that. I don't think the character has any real major balance issues because the character's kit shape leans very close to just Exceed fundamentals. Um, Yeah, I think I should drop the Exceed cost to 2, but otherwise the character will probably just be put on a more aesthetically pleasing template,
Fair.
and I'll just call it a day because I don't think the character actually has any real issues.
Look forward to the Tetris buffs. On the note of what the character felt like to play as and against, Sompursone, do you have any opinions on how Tetris like this feels overall?
I mean, it's pretty much as Blue said at the start. This it doesn't quite feel like Tetris when you're playing it, but Blue said they were designing it around like the opponent is playing Tetris. And when I was playing against my opponent, like in the second round when we were playing each other's characters, I could absolutely feel that. It felt so much like a puzzle trying to figure out how to interact with what my opponent could do at that moment. Uh, I all the boosts fit really well. I do really like the opening of Pentamino's boost into J. That was a fun
Pretty good.
opening play. uh, and major thing actually was uh, the spacings of the T and I, because both of them hit at like really far ranges. Like T, of course, you can hit it at range 1 because it just advances 2. You're at range 2, you get it. But I being at range 4 was a really important thing because that I didn't play against a lot of zoners, so I wasn't playing against anybody at like range 6, 7, 8 a lot.
Yeah.
These were all opponents that wanted to be at late ranges 1, 2, 3, 4, and I and T were both disincentivizing them from running from me, which put them into the ranges for all of these as well.
Yeah, forcing them to interact with you.
Yeah. Though I don't think I think T was used in one strike, and I can't remember if it hit or not. I don't think I was ever used in a strike. Both of these I think were used for their boosts every single time they came up, because the opponent was never at the range for I, and I don't know. Tetris Effect is a really good boost.
That's true. In certain situations, it's
Uh,
more about the threat of the Ultra, I imagine, especially with I, because you see this in the opponent's hand, you're not going to range for.
yeah. The Definitely I would say dropping the exceed cost. Even once I understood the philosophy behind the exceed side action, uh, it just never felt worth the 3 gauge to put that online.
A bit of a strange question that you might have more perspective on. You played a lot of different characters into Tetris by nature of the potluck formats. Did you feel like different characters interacted with the threats that Tetris had in different ways?
Uh, hmm. I mean, a little bit. Like, I played, as I said, I played a lot of people that wanted to play at close ranges, and so that meant a lot of playing at the same ranges across matchups.
Hmm.
Like, uh, I can't remember one of the characters I played against. Your character, sir,
Yeah,
was
Alice.
yeah, Alice. She had a bit of zoner like tendencies with the dolls, but it felt more like I set the doll at the distance while Alice stays at close range, and that felt like the best way to play her.
Yeah.
So
So at some
there
level, you
was
still are dealing with the mix-up that the shapes present.
yeah, but for everyone else, it was a lot of ducking and weaving between all of these different shapes.
Makes sense. Yeah, this is like more or less based around fundamental exceed, fast, spin speed, slow dynamics. So I wouldn't expect it to feel too different, but it was kind of funny that we sometimes joke about how well a character does against Tetris, indicating how good that character in canon would be at Tetris. So don't know if you got any sense for that among the custom characters, but
I mean, Cecil had a move that beat L like at range 4. So Cecil's godlike at Tetris.
it's like a speed 7 attack, isn't it? That speeds everything except O, I think. So
Yeah. Well, no, I'm pretty sure I had Tetris Effect online too. Is the
oh, I see.
thing?
That's the counterplay, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Just like the game, a pretty straightforward character, it seems like. Do either of you have any last notes on this design?
Man, I'm really looking forward to that pizza I'm probably going to order.
Exciting.
uh, One thing I didn't actually mention, playing as Tetris felt like my approach to low level fighting games in general, where I play overwhelmingly powerful moves, but it's very painfully predictable. And so that felt like home.
As long as they're strong enough, it probably works.
Yeah. Who cares
So
if you know
true.
what I'm doing? Can you beat it?
That's always a fun part about space up attackers, I think, and Tetris seems to capture that well. Yeah. Thanks to both of you for talking about Tetris. This is like probably going to be the shortest episode of Potluck Prime Picks for a while.
What was that? 15 minutes?
This is around 20.
Okay.
Yeah, like I think we said what needed to be said. This is like an interesting adaptation of a weird character for what Exceed's trying to capture, but seems to do it pretty well.
Thanks, Moriarty, for the excellent pitch.
Thanks, Blue, for making a cool character.
Maybe Sony helped too, I think. Probably.
He
Yeah.
helped by bothering me a bunch and also being part of the. Oh yeah, that seems like a reasonable idea for Tetris. Here's the pitch ideas.
We call that encouragement. It's helpful. Yep. Until maybe not next month, but whenever we have our next customs potluck. Thanks again for watching the episode. Thanks again for both of you being here, and see you again sometime else. Happy exceeding.
Bye.